What's going on, everyone? Matt here for the Matt Film Shakers, and you can make sure thumbs up, subscribe, because let's get right into today's video. And then today I'm gonna be giving you guys my season 1 review of Creature Commandos, the first project in the DCU or the DC universe created by James Gunn and Peter Safran. This is part of the new DC reboot that they announced a year ago. And after this will be James Gunn's Superman, which releases in theaters on July of this year. So before I start off with my review for this, I want to give you guys my thoughts on the DCU and how James Gunn is doing it different than Marvel, and why I think it was kind of weird for them to start. So the DCU, or the DC Universe, which is what it's called, was announced a year ago when James Gunn and Peter Safran announced the plans that they were going to reboot DC, start from scratch from the beginning. 1 year later, they released James Gunn released Creature Commandos, an animated series. It was in 7 episodes. I thought it was 8, but 7 episodes on Max. And it's animated. And so when they announced that was going to be the first project, it was kind of weird, but it was very interesting, something different, right? Because in my head is that when you want to start off this DC universe, want to start off thing, it's like, we're going to start off with Superman, we're going to start off with a Batman or Wonder Woman, right? Or primarily Superman and Batman primarily. But for them to start off with Creature Commandos, a team that, without the comics of DC, the movie-going audience, I don't think no one has ever heard of it, including me. I never knew what Creature Commandos was, never knew that Creature Commandos existed, that team existed, right? So I never knew nothing of this. So I'm going to give you guys my premise, the cast, and what I think about this. So the premise is a secret team of incarnated monsters who are recruited for missions that are too dangerous for humans. The cast includes Maria Bakalova, as she voices Ilana Wostovic, or Iderna Varma voices Bride of Frankenstein. Frank Grillo, who played who was in the MCU, he was in Crossbones and Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. Rick plays Rick Flexer Sr. I'll explain to that right now. Zoe Chow voices Nina Mazurski. Anya Charlotta, hope I pronounced your name right, voices Cersei, I don't know how to pronounce it. Alan Tudusky voices Dr. Forsofos, I can't pronounce his names. Clayface is in the, and he voices Clayface. David Harper voices Eric Frankenstein, and Viola Davis voices Amanda Waller. So this is very interesting that they start out with this. Very amazing voice. Now, they did say that the voice cast here will play them in live action. So they're not just going to play them here or voice them in animated. They're going to be in live action as well, right? And so they got Viola Davis back. She was one of the actors that was announced that would be returning. So she's in this. Obviously, in Peacemaker Season 2, obviously John Cena would be returning as Peacemaker. I think they're going to have Shola Madureina come back as Blue Beetle. So that was one of them. Frank Grillo plays Rick Flex Sr., Rick Flex's dad. Now, the thing that confused me here with this episode was they did mention the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Now, as far as I know, those are not canon to the DCU, because Peacemaker Season 2 is canon. Peacemaker Season 1 is not canon. I don't understand how that makes sense. I'm thinking in my head is like, if you had planned, James Gunn had planned to make Peacemaker as a show when he was doing the DCU, I don't understand why he could have waited until to launch the DCU to make Peacemaker. Now, so it's going to be very, very confusing where you watch season 1, but season 1 doesn't count, but season 2 does. I just don't understand how that doesn't. Now, there are mentions of the Suicide Squad here. So in my head, it's like, is this a reboot? Is this not a reboot? Like what? Like they're over here mentioning that certain characters, like Rick Flag Sr., sorry for spoilers, but Rick Flag is not in this, right? Rick Flag does not come out because he's dead. Remember, he died in the Suicide Squad. So that's why his dad's here, but not his son, right? He was played by, who played Rick Flag? I remember, Joe Kinnaman. So Joe Kinnaman played the Rick Flag. Remember, he played him in the Suicide Squad and the first one. And obviously, remember at the beginning of the Suicide Squad that killed off half of everybody, and he was one of the persons that got killed off. When this one, they do, Viola Davis mentions the Suicide Squad, the events of that, right? And not only does she mentions that, they mention those events, they mention Rick Flag goes, yeah, you know, I had a son, but he died. Meaning that they kill him off in the Suicide Squad, but they mention him. So I do not know how this is supposed to be a reboot, but they still mention the DCEU. You know what I mean? So is this not a full reboot? Is this like a partial reboot? Like, I just don't understand that. And obviously, probably we'll get more clarification from James Gunn in the future. Maybe in Superman, they're going to clarify a lot of stuff. I do not know. So it's kind of weird that they mentioned that universe when that universe does not exist anymore because it ended. And now we're in DCU. That was a DCEU. Now with the DCU to start something fresh, start from scratch. But they still mentioned so. So that was kind of confusing for me. Because in my head, I was like, is this a reboot? Is this not a reboot? But anyways, this is a rated R show. This show is rated R. I understand that James Gunn loves to do rated R stuff, right? He did a fantastic, great job. He did a great job with the Suicide Squad with rated R. Peacemaker was rated R. This is rated R. I don't understand. Now, it's great. You know what I mean? I understand, you know what I mean? He loves rated R. There's going to be some rated R stuff, some PG-13 stuff. That's great. I just do not understand why everything has to be R-rated. You know what I mean? I don't understand why the Suicide Squad had to be rated R. Why Peacemaker had to be rated R. Why does Creature Commandos have to be rated R? You know what I mean? Rated R does not make the movie better. It is not like, oh, it's rated R. That means it's going to be really good. The rating has nothing to do. It does not depend how a movie or a show performs. It's like, oh, it's R-rated. It does not perform, right? The rating does not there. So this is rated R. There's a lot of cussing, a lot of sexual stuff, right? They mention a lot of stuff, sexual stuff. There's a lot of cussing, and blood, guts, head gets cut off, like all those stuff. But right, and this is created by James Gunn, who made the Suicide Squad for DC, but also made Guardians of the Galaxy for Disney and Marvel Studios, right? When they announced the Guardians of the Galaxy, I did not even know what those teams were, what that team was. I never heard of Rocket. I never heard of Groot, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, right? Never heard of none of those characters. Then the first movie came out, the trailer came out, and I enjoyed the trailer. You know what I mean? And it was a huge risk for Disney and Marvel Studios. And I enjoyed loving that. I enjoyed all the 3 films. I was kind of not a big fan of the second one, but I did love the second one. I loved the first and the third one more than the second one. But I would rank the second one like the least one, right? But I did enjoy the Guardians of the Galaxy characters and in those movies. I enjoyed the Suicide Squad for DC. Obviously, that one had a lot of R-rated stuff. It was rated R, a lot of sexual stuff, a lot of sexual jokes, a lot of like all that. And that's great. You know what I mean? It's rated R. Of course, they could do whatever they want. rated R, freedom and all that. But, so, he did mention that there's going to be a lot of R stuff here, PG-13 stuff. So, I just don't understand why they just have to do, why he has to do everything rated R. Like, this could have been easily worked like as PG-13, you know what I mean? So, but I just want to warn you, if you're going to watch the show, there's a lot of sexual stuff, head gets cut off, a lot of blood, a lot of guts and all that. But that does not make the movie better or good, you know what I mean? It didn't hurt the show anyway. And I just wanted to mention to you guys about that. Another thing that I do want to character is, there's a lot of these characters that I never heard of. Because I'm not that big fan of DC, I'm a big fan of Marvel, right? Same thing with Marvel. I never read the Marvel comics. I never read DC comics, so I can't, you know what I mean? So, characters, Ilana Rostovic, Bride of Frankenstein, Nina Marsuri, Cersei, Dr. Phosphorus, Eric Frankenstein, like all these characters are new to me. So this is a group of monsters, like the Suicide Squad, right? That basically has the same premise as the Suicide Squad, where Amanda Waller is the ringleader, right? She's the one who is in charge of this team, recruits them to do special missions. That's what she did in the Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad. She does the same thing here, recruits them. The Suicide Squad, I think they call it like Task Force X or something like that. This one, if I remember, it was like Task Force M. So I'm not too sure what Task Force X or M means, what that means. I'm not too familiar with that. But I do remember the Suicide Squad was Task Force X. This one is Task Force M. And so, I really enjoyed the characters here. Dr. Phosphorus, Clayface, Amanda Waller, all those characters. They were very, very interesting. Never heard of them. But I really enjoyed this cast of characters. James Gunn is a genius when it comes to this. He knows how to bring a group of characters that are unknown to the movie audience or whatever, but only people from the comics know these characters. Like me, I love Marvel and DC because of the movies, not because of comics, right? So the movie for me, for a fan of DC, as a fan of the movies, right, or Marvel, have these characters. I don't even know. I never heard of these characters, right? Never knew that these characters existed, right? So you got characters like Dr. Phosphorus, Cersei, Nina Maskuri, Bride of Frankenstein, Ilana Wazovic, Eric Frankenstein, all these characters, never heard of them. And what James Gunn is able to do is make those characters that are unknown for me and make them work. And I really enjoy these characters. They worked very, very well as a team. Weird characters, and that's what James Gunn is known for that weird stuff, right? And so it worked very, very well for me. I really enjoyed this show. It really took me a surprise. I know, besides the sexual stuff and all that, R-rating stuff, it worked very well for me. I really enjoyed it. And I'm very excited to see where we get to see these in live action, because I'm very excited to see see these characters in live action, because like I said, the voice actors will play them in live action. So I thought that was kind of cool. And so yeah, I thought that this show worked. 7 episodes. I kind of wish it was longer. Like 33 minutes. Episodes long with perfect length. I do think that people are gonna be turned off by this because it's animated, and they're gonna think it's for kids. This is not a kids show, okay? I'm telling you this right now. I know it's animated. This is for adults. Like I said, there's a lot of sexual references. There's a lot of sexual jokes here. There's a lot of head, blood, and guts and all that. It's a rated R adult animated show, right? So I just think that this is something that was a huge risk for DC. And that's great. You should always take a risk. But for them risking this as the first project for the new DC was a huge risk, because they're starting off something that's unknown to like me and to the movie going audience, but also starting off not only with something unknown, but he's also starting off with something that's a huge risk because animated, And 99% of animation is a huge turnoff for people, right? So, and I really do hope that people watch this. This is streaming on Max. I think you should guys go watch this, especially if you guys are looking for James Gunn's DC, want to stay connected. Because remember, the DCEU, when they did Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Batman vs Superman, Zack Snyder's just all that, there was no one in charge. Okay, they were doing all over the places. And remember, if one movie failed, right? Because the majority of all the DCEU movies failed. And even though they failed, I enjoyed a lot more. Majority of them I enjoyed. But even though they failed, what did Warner Brothers do? They changed their plans. This movie failed? Oh no, we have to change plans. I need to go to the next movie. That movie failed, they changed plans, whatever. Now they have someone who's in charge, James Gunn and Peter Safran. You know what I mean? They need to stick with their plan, right? Whatever plan they have for the DCU, and stick with it. Whether they fail or not, stick with their plan. And I hope that that's what DC does. Because the DCEU, Warner Brothers, the whole old regime over there, Warner Brothers, did whatever, they didn't fail, right? So, but for the first start, DCU, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a very fantastic show, well done, created by James Gunn and Peter Safran. James Gunn, I believe, wrote this, and so he did an amazing job. So I really enjoyed this show. It's streaming on the Max. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys watch the show, give it a chance. I really am a big fan of James Gunn, and for the new DC, I hope it does well. And I have huge faith for him. I'm very excited for Superman and Supergirl and the future of the DCU. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this, Creature Commandos streaming on Max Season 1 review. Guys, make sure to thumbs up, subscribe, because and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.